Hello friends, welcome to this session of discussion on the external features and blood supply of the heart. And we are going to discuss about the external features and blood supply of the heart under the following headings. First we will see the features, then we will see coronary arteries, their origin, course, branches and termination, coronary dominance, what is coronary anastomosis, variations, venous return and upper anatomy. First, the coronary arteries are nothing but they are vasa vasorum arising from the aortic sinus of the ascending aorta. As the blood vessels have the three layers from inside to outside, tunica, intima, media and adventitia, the heart has endocardium, myocardium and epicardium. Heart is nothing but a blood vessel, and coronary arteries are medium sized arteries and they receive the blood supply during diastole. Right coronary artery come from the right aortic sinus, left come from the left aortic sinus. Before going to the blood supply in detail, you should know about these following features of the heart. There is different grooves, what you mean by the apex, what you mean by the crux, what is AV groove, IV groove. So when you see the heart here, you are seeing a hollow conical muscular organ. So you can see there, it's a hollow conical muscular organ located in the middle part of the inferior mediastinum. This is what you see in the lateral view, and heart lies between the sternum and the vertebral column. It moves up and down as it lies on the diaphragm. It moves up and down during the respiration. And to see the location of the heart, we have to see the mediastinum, which is a space between the two lungs. You can see the thoracic cage here, made up of sternum, ribs and vertebral column. If you take out the part of the thoracic cage here, right side, you are seeing the right anterolateral view. You are seeing the two lungs there on either side of the sternum, and just behind the sternum you are seeing the heart covered in a pericardial jacket. You can notice there, if you remove the lungs, this is where you see the heart. You are seeing the left lateral view now. Yes, that is the heart, a conical hollow muscular organ just lying above the diaphragm, and you can see the blood vessels, which are the part of the superior mediastinum, pulmonary trunk and ascending aorta. And when you see the heart, it has four chambers, pair of ventricles, pair of atria. Ventricles lie anteriorly and inferiorly, atria lie posteriorly and superiorly, and you can see the good enough coating of the epicardial fat there. And this is the anterior view of the heart that you are seeing. When you take out the fat, you can see the heart like this. Atria are located posteriorly and superiorly, and they are thin. Ventricles are located anteriorly and inferiorly, and they are muscular. Ventricles are thick compared to the atria. Here you can notice the left ventricle there. In the sternocostal view, you are seeing the left ventricle, which forms the apex. Then the right ventricle, which forms the most of the sternocostal surface. And here you can see the atria, right atria here. You can see both the atria in this view. They form the base by which the heart is suspended from the posterior thoracic wall. Left atria and right atria. So you can see here, that is the opening of superior vena cava into the right atrium, opening of the inferior vena cava into right atrium. Right atrium is the input chamber of the heart, and this is the intact view of the heart with the right atrium. That is the right atrium, and you can see the openings of superior and inferior vena cava into it. And left atrium receives the two pairs of pulmonary veins, and that is coronary sinus, a largest vein of the heart. And you can see the right auricle. Auricles are ear-like appendages of the atrium. Usually blood do not flow there, thrombi will collect there. and the blood from right atrium goes to right ventricle via tricuspid valve, which is located here. You can notice this is the base of the heart, having two atria separated by the oblique interatrial septum. That is the interatrial groove, what you are noticing here. So when you see the heart, it has the apex and base is formed by the atria. You can see the right border, inferior border, and the left border. Superior border is obscured by the origins of the ascending aorta and pulmonary trunk, and you are noticing the opening of superior vena cava and inferior vena cava there. So heart has a apex, base, sternocostal surface, diaphragmatic surface, and left surface, four borders that you can notice. And in the sternocostal surface you are seeing the different chambers here: right atrium, right ventricle, and left ventricle. Right atrium and right ventricle are separated by the anterior atrioventricular groove, whereas right ventricle and left ventricle are separated by the anterior interventricular groove. So these are the chambers you see on the sternocostal surface. And when you see the posterior superior view of the heart, the base of the heart, it is formed by these two chambers. This is left atrium, this is the right atrium. 2/3 is formed by the left, 1/3 is formed by the right, and this is the diaphragmatic surface of the heart, formed by the left ventricle and right ventricle here. So you can notice there, left atrium and right atrium, and left ventricle and right ventricle. So this base and diaphragmatic surface you are observing, base is formed by the atria, diaphragm surface is formed by the ventricles, and here the ventricle separated by the posterior interventricular sulcus, atria by the oblique interatrial sulcus, and atria and ventricle by the this posterior atrioventricular sulcus or coronary sulcus. And where these three grooves meet, that area is called as crux of the heart, where interatrial, interventricular, and atrioventricular grooves meet. That area is called as crux of the heart, which is shown by the red dot here. And here you can see again, and that is the point where these interatrial, posterior atrioventricular, and posterior interventricular grooves meet. And if you see in this animation here, you are noticing the thoracic cage covering the lungs and the heart, the important organs of thorax. Heart lies between the two lungs in a space called as mediastinum, that is the middle part of the inferior mediastinum, and you are noticing the conical hollow muscular shape here, that is the apex located in the left fifth intercostal space. This is the base formed by the two atria, left atrium and right atrium, and here you are noticing the sternocostal surface, and this is the diaphragmatic surface or inferior surface by which the heart lies on the diaphragm. And here you can notice this is the left surface formed by the left ventricle, and coming to the borders, that is the right border formed by right atrium, inferior border, and this is the left border formed by left ventricle and left atrium. This is the ascending aorta and the pulmonary trunk here, that is the pulmonary trunk. So you are seeing in the sternocostal view, you are seeing the heart. So if you turn here, that is the apex formed by left ventricle, and here you are seeing the entire left ventricle. Left ventricle is thicker than the right ventricle. This is sternocostal view, right atrium, right ventricle, and here you can notice that is the part of the left ventricle there. And when you see here, right atrium is separated from the right ventricle by the anterior atrioventricular groove, that is an anterior atrioventricular groove, whereas the two ventricles are separated by the anterior interventricular groove. This is the anterior interventricular groove on the sternocostal surface. This is the inferior border, what you are seeing here. So the sternocostal surface, 2/3 is formed by the right ventricle, 1/3 by the left ventricle, and here you are seeing the base, which is formed by the atria, that is posterior atrioventricular sulcus. And you can notice here, this is the diaphragm surface, that is posterior interventricular sulcus. 2/3 is formed by the left ventricle, 1/3 is formed by the right ventricle. So you can see here, that is the interatrial groove separating the two atria, that is right atrium, left atrium, posterior atrioventricular groove, interatrial groove, and this one here, that is interventricular groove. Where they meet, they form the crux of the heart. So these features you should know in detail. This is the diaphragmatic surface, left and right ventricles. So to understand the course of the arteries, you should know all these features of the heart. And here also you can see the location of SA node here near the opening of inferior superior vena cava, and here you can see the AV node near the tricuspid valve. And we will discuss about the right coronary artery under following headings: origin, from where it takes origin, then course, how it runs in different grooves, and termination, how it ends by forming the anastomosis, branches, and the area supplied. So you should remember these points. You have to describe the right and left coronary artery under following headings. So after the origin from the anterior sinus, the right coronary artery runs between the right auricle and pulmonary trunk, then runs between the right atrium and right ventricle in the anterior atrioventricular groove. Then it winds around the inferior border, runs onto this posterior part between the base and diaphragmatic surface, and ends by anastomosing with the circumflex branch of the left coronary artery, that is to the left of the crux. Crux is here marked by the X. In 60% of cases it is like that, whereas in 10% of the cases it may end here only at the inferior border, and in 20% of cases it may anastomose between the inferior border and the crux, and in some 10% it goes to the full length of AV groove, posterior AV groove. That is the variation in the termination. And coming to the branches, you should know that it gives different branches. The right conus artery, after the origin, right conus artery joins with the left conus artery, coming from the left anterdescending artery, form the necklace, annulus of Wiesen's. Annulus means necklace. It gives a SA nodal branch, and it gives anterior atrial branches and ventricular branches. The biggest one is called as marginal artery near the inferior border. Then it winds and again gives posterior ventricular branches, atrial branches, and it gives a branch called as posterior interventricular artery. And in 80% of the cases it supplies the AV node, and in 60% of the cases it supplies the SA node. So SA node is supplied by the right coronary artery in 60% of cases, and AV node is supplied by the right coronary artery in 80% of cases. Again, you notice the course here. You can see here the different branches, how it runs and ends. Conus artery, SA nodal artery, atrial ventricular branches, marginal artery, posterior interventricular artery. It only gives the AV nodal branch in 80% of cases, and SA nodal branch in 60% of the cases. That you should know. These are the different branches of the right coronary artery that you are seeing. So right coronary artery supplies the right atrium and right ventricle. So if you draw here Just drawing the outline of the heart here. Right auricle, this is the left auricle, and here you can see right atrium, right ventricle, left auricle here. So the artery runs here and winds like this. Posteriorly it goes beyond the crux and anastomose with the circumflex branch here. Water branch it gives, right conus, SA nodal, ventricular, marginal and atrial, posterior again atrial and ventricular, and use posterior interventricular artery. So this is the origin, course, termination, branches, and areas supplied by the right coronary artery that you should know. Then coming to the left coronary artery, the left coronary artery again described in the same headings. It originates from the left aortic sinus or posterior aortic sinus. It runs behind the pulmonary trunk, then comes here in the left side of the anterior atrioventricular sulcus and divides into anterior interventricular artery and circumflex artery. It bifurcates into two arteries, anterior interventricular and circumflex branch. Anterior interventricular is also called as left anterior descending. Left anterior descending. This anterior interventricular gives a lot of branches: left conus, ventricular, diagonal, and apical branches, and it winds around the apex and joins with the posterior interventricular branch of the right coronary artery on the diaphragmatic surface, and it form anastomosis in the posterior interventricular groove. So it gives 4 branches, you should remember that. Then coming to the circumflex artery, after taking origin from the left coronary artery, it runs in the anterior atrioventricular sulcus, then winds around the left border and runs in the posterior AV sulcus or in the coronary sulcus. Then anastomose with the right coronary artery. It gives atrial branches, ventricular branches, left marginal branch, and again it supplies the SA node in 40% of the cases, and sometimes it may give a posterior interventricular branch in 10% of the cases. So posterior interventricular artery is usually a branch of right coronary artery. Why it is important, we'll discuss. Here you can see the left anterior descending joins with the posterior interventricular branch of the right coronary artery in the posterior AV groove, that is circumflex branch. The arrow is showing. It gives a marginal branch, atrial branch, ventricular branch, and supplies SA node in 40% of cases, AV node in 20% of cases. So if you see the origin here, the left coronary artery, here you notice right atrium, right ventricle here. So after the origin here, the left coronary artery divides into anterior interventricular and circumflex. Anterior interventricular gives left conus, diagonal and ventricular branches, winds near the apex and goes in anastomose with the posterior interventricular artery of the right coronary artery. Circumflex branch winds around the posterior anterior AV sulcus and winds on the left border of the heart, gives atrial branch, ventricular branch, and left marginal branch. And here it comes and anastomose with the right coronary artery, and in 10% of cases it only gives posterior atrioventricular artery. That is the course of the circumflex artery, and you can remember as AV slap. These are the branches given by the circumflex artery: atrial, ventricular, SA nodal, left marginal, AV nodal, or posterior interventricular. So posterior interventricular artery gives rise to coronary dominance. So whichever the coronary artery which gives posterior interventricular branch, that is called as the dominant artery. So dominant artery is a misleading term. Eventually the left coronary artery is wider and supplies most of the heart, but the artery which gives posterior interventricular branch is called as dominant. 70% of cases it comes from right, 20% from the left, 10% from the both. So in case of left coronary artery blockage, if the person is left dominant, he or she can suffer massive heart attack. So what is the proportion here? The posterior intraventricular artery is a branch of right coronary artery in 70% of the cases. That means the right coronary artery is supplying the intraventricular septum. And here you can see in this heart specimen, you are seeing the anterior-aortic sinus there, and you can notice it is the right coronary artery running between the atria and ventricle. On the left side of the image, you are seeing the right atria and right ventricle on the right side. In between them, artery is passing and winds around here along the inferior border and gives a posterior intraventricular artery. And this is the left side of the heart, that is the left coronary artery, dividing into circumflex branch. Here you can see that is circumflex branch and anterior intraventricular branch, also called as left intraventricular artery or left anterior descending artery, LAD. Clinically it is referred as LAD. The circumflex artery winds around the left border and joins the coronary sulcus. So in summary, the right coronary artery supplies right atrium, part of the left atrium and right ventricle, diaphragmatic surface, posterior 1/3 of intraventricular septum, SA node in 60% of cases, AV node in 80%, and most of the conductive system of the heart, whereas left coronary artery supplies the part of the right ventricle, left ventricle, anterior 2/3 of the intraventricular septum, left bundle of His, SA node in 40% of cases, and AV node in 20% of the cases. So there are variations in the distribution, and here you can notice the distribution of the right and left coronary arteries. Here you can see the right coronary artery and left coronary artery, their origins, their course, their termination, branches and area supplied. So this you can describe the arterial supply of the heart with this table. It will be easy for you to remember and to write also. You can draw a diagram showing the course of the right and left coronary arteries. Then you can put this table which contains all these headings what we discussed. Remember the coronary dominance. Coronary dominance is nothing but it depends on the which artery is giving posterior intraventricular branch. So it is given by the right coronary artery 90%, left by the 10%. That 10% is more prone for heart attack. So out of the 100 people, 10 people are more prone for heart attack. So the coronary anastomosis, the coronary arteries are not end arteries, they are functional end arteries. They have anastomosis at a different level, superficial, subepicardial, myocardial and subendocardial levels, and they open up in the old age, and in slow occlusion the prognosis is better. That means the older people can survive heart attack better than the young people. And these are some variations. Left coronary artery coming from the pulmonary trunk leading to cyanosis because of carriage of the deoxygenated blood, and left coronary artery may come from the right aortic sinus. And one more common variation is the posterior intraventricular artery arising from the circumflex artery. That is in the 10% of cases. In that we say heart is left dominant, and the circumflex artery gives SA nodal branch in 40% of cases and the AV nodal branch in 20% of the cases. So these are the variations you can notice here. The circumflex artery is giving the posterior intraventricular branch in 10% of the cases, leading to the left dominant type of heart. Coming to the venous drainage, in the venous drainage of the heart, the coronary sinus is the large vein draining the heart. It opens into right atrium. There are some other veins, tributaries we say, they also drain into right atrium. So coronary sinus is derived from the left horn of sinus venosus and body of the sinus venosus, and the coronary sinus is a continuation of the great cardiac vein located in the anterior AV groove It opens into right atrium between the inferior vena cava opening and tricuspid opening, guarded by Thebetian valve. You can see here the great cardiac vein is here in the anterior AV groove and opens into the left side. Middle cardiac vein is in the posterior AV groove, opens onto the right side. And you can notice the location of coronary sinus here. And here you can notice the small cardiac vein opening onto the right side, oblique vein of left atrium, posterior vein of left ventricle. All these veins open into coronary sinus, which opens finally into right atrium. Okay, so here you can notice the oblique vein of the right atrium, posterior vein of left ventricle, middle cardiac vein in the posterior AV groove, and there are some veins which directly opens into the right atrium. Those are antecardiac veins, vena cordis minimi or Thebetian veins, and you can notice the here again I'm just drawing the heart, showing the anterior view. So once you notice here, the coronary sinus will be here in the posterior AV groove. Here is the great cardiac vein in the anterior AV groove, and middle cardiac vein in the posterior AV groove. And here you can notice the oblique vein of left atrium, posterior vein of left ventricle opens onto the left side. Middle cardiac vein and small cardiac veins, they open into the right side of the coronary sinus, and coronary sinus itself opens into the right atrium. So remember, coronary sinus is the largest venous channel of the heart, opening into the right atrium, has 5 tributaries, and other veins also drain the heart and open directly into right atrium. Those are vena cordis minimi, anterior cardiac veins, and here you can notice here we are showing the animation of the you can notice the right coronary artery going to the crux there. You can see here, you can notice the right coronary artery traversing between the right atrium and right ventricle in the anterior atrioventricular groove, giving the branches, the right conus branch, ventricular branch, and near the margin you are seeing the right marginal artery. It winds around the inferior border, comes posteriorly, and gives these atrial and ventricular branches. You can see that is the posterior interventricular branch given by right coronary artery in 90% of cases. You can notice these branches: ventricular branch, atrial branch, conus branch, right marginal branch. This is what you see the right coronary artery when you isolate. This is the course and branches of the right coronary artery, and here you can see the left coronary artery coming from the left aortic sinus behind the pulmonary trunk. It runs behind the pulmonary trunk and divides into anterior interventricular and this one circumflex branch. You can see the diagonal branch coming from the LAD, left anterior descending branch. Circumflex artery gives left marginal branch, this ventricular branch, and the atrial branch. Here you can notice the coronary sinus there. You are seeing the coronary sinus lodging in the left side of the posterior AV groove. It has 5 tributaries: great cardiac vein, oblique vein of left atrium, and posterior vein of left ventricle turning to the left side. Middle cardiac vein and small cardiac vein turns the right side of the coronary sinus and opens into the right atrium near the opening of inferior vena cava. So if you notice here, the coronary sinus is there, but here I am just trying to show you the distribution of coronary arteries. Here you can notice, yes, this is the distribution of the right and left coronary arteries. Remember that usually the heart is right dominant, and the dominance is a misnomer. It doesn't mean that it is supplying more. In all of us, left coronary artery is supplying most of the heart. Remember that. So after seeing these arteries, now let us see the veins in the animation, and you can notice there, if you add the veins here, you are noticing these anterior cardiac veins directly running into the right atrium, and here you can notice these are anterior cardiac veins, and as you go near the margin, we'll see it just in a minute. You can see this is the venous distribution. You can notice that is a great cardiac vein. This is the left marginal vein, and here you can see, yes, as you go to the posterior side, you are seeing the posterior vein of the left ventricle, that is the middle cardiac vein. And here along the margin you may see the right marginal veins, that is these are the anterior cardiac veins. What you are noticing, that is a great cardiac vein in the anterior interventricular groove. Along the left border you are seeing the left marginal vein, and on the diaphragmatic surface you are noticing these posterior vein of the left ventricle, and on diaphragmatic surface in the posterior interventricular groove you are seeing the middle cardiac vein, which opens to the right side of the coronary sinus, and here you can see the small cardiac vein draining the right marginal vein there. So these all drain into the coronary sinus. Remember, coronary sinus is derived from the left horn and body of the sinus venosus. This is the largest venous channel of the heart, located in the left part of the posterior atrioventricular groove between the left atrium and left ventricle there, and opening into the right atrium here, guarded by Thebetian valve. It opens into right atrium between the opening of inferior vena cava and tricuspid opening. So coming to the applied anatomy, coronary artery disease, coronary angiography, percutaneous transluminal coronary angioplasty, coronary artery bypass graft, and cardiac catheterization. What is coronary artery disease? It is a luminal blockage due to atherosclerosis. Patient may experience the angina pectoris or myocardial infarction. Occlusive thrombus is there, leading to the lack of oxygen to the cardiac muscle. Treatment is stents in case of a single artery disease, and angioplasty in case of triple vessel disease like involving circumflex, left anterdescending and right coronary artery. Coronary bypass graft is recommended. Here you can see the image is showing the atherosclerosis in the normal coronary artery, and the area distal to the occlusion is suffering because of the lack of oxygen, and here you can notice the occlusion here, and this is the area of ischemia. In that case they will do coronary angioplasty or catheterization with stenting, you can see. So artery may remain narrow after the angioplasty. They will put balloon catheter and stent is expanded so that it will not narrow again, and the stent provides the continuous flow of the blood, and sometimes they will do grafting. They bypass the occluded site, and you can see here how the artery looks after the dilatation, and this is the coronary artery bypass graft. In case of triple vessel disease, the artery is usually internal thoracic artery, radial artery, or great saphenous vein are taken, and here if the blockage is here, the artery is bypass here. So this is about the heart. Thank you very much.